Hey everybody, so got about a quarter of the way into here. Credit goes out to Southern Draw Law Firm. Actually, I didn't even subscribe to him yet. Shit. But yeah, credit goes out to him, and I'm gonna probably try to take the video link and pin it in the comment below here of this live video after I get done. But I want you guys to watch this, and as I watch it, I'm going to do my normal commentary type thing, which I'm not always good at, but you know I try my best. So let's see what he has to say, and then we'll go from there.
Imagine that you use your First Amendment right to express your feelings about him, negative or positive, just like every other person does literally daily on Twitter. And then imagine that a sheriff's deputy shows up at your house and arrests you on a warrant for, of all things, threatening violence on school property. That's exactly what happened to a former cop and corrections officer in Tennessee. Let's talk about it. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Southern Draw Law. My name is James White, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor, former police officer. All right, I'm going to do my very best to keep this as apolitical as possible because it's really not about politics. It's more about the fact that law enforcement in what seems to be mostly red states is becoming exactly what we have been told that they'd become under this administration. And again, I have a problem with this overreach regardless of which party is doing it. I had a problem with it from the Democrats when they were doing it during COVID, and I have a problem with it from conservatives when they're doing it now in the state of Tennessee. But apparently, in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death and the sort of prolonged mourning that occurred thereafter, this guy named Larry Busshart decided he was tired of people mourning the death of Charlie Kirk, and he wanted to remind everyone that President Trump has said,
because I don't know who the fucking guy is, and I don't really care who he is. It doesn't affect my life, you know.
Tragedies, and the one in question is a school.
I didn't even know. I didn't even know the name until it happened.
I'm just going to play this news coverage from Channel 5 there in Nashville to kind of give you an idea of what happened.
Jailed for a meme. Tonight, a Middle Tennessee sheriff defends the arrest of a man for posting this online meme quoting President Trump. Good evening. I'm Rory Johnston.
And I'm Carrie Sharp. Free speech advocates are sounding the alarm about this man's arrest. But in an interview, Perry County Sheriff Nick Weems claims this man left him no choice.
The sheriff sat down to answer some tough questions from News Channel 5 chief investigative reporter Phil Williams.
Phil, there are a lot of people out there who are outraged over this.
That may be an understatement. Larry Busshart has been behind bars for more than a month, and right now he's not scheduled for another court appearance for more than 5 weeks.
And you see how they're trying to drag it through the mud? They're trying to make an example of him.
Yeah, there's been some very, very bad,
that ain't right.
Phone calls that my employees has had to endure.
Fuck you, pig. Fuck you, you motherfucking pig. Piece of shit. Looking like a pig. Oink, 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 motherfucker.
Our dispatch has had to endure.
For Perry County Sheriff Nick Weems and his...
Look at that. What the fuck is... You guys see this shit, right? You guys seen this shit? Look at the wall.
More than a month.
I literally just noticed it. I didn't... It's because I'm fucking mad about this shit.
Not scheduled for another court
I just noticed it on the wall.
5 weeks. The question is...
Has had to...
The question is, should this case ever have gone this far?
Yeah, there's been some very, very bad...
Look at the wall. What the fuck? Really? Wow. What a fucking pig. Straight up pig. I would love to take a shit on that wall and smear it over the wall. Take a bunch of shit and smear it over the wall. And I'll fucking piss on that thing and take a dump on it too. And like steaming diarrhea, dump on it.
Larry Busshart for a Facebook post. A local judge set Busshart's bond at $2 million.
He's been here for 35 days.
35 days.
$2 million bond, right? But yet, child molesters, rapists, murderers all get less than that bond. How the fuck is that possible? I think it was WFRV Channel 5 out of Green Bay, Wisconsin, and WLUK Fox 11. They posted some stories about I think it was some guy that was using Grindr to send anonymous people to somebody that he didn't like over a course of a year, and it took police a year to finally catch the guy actually making shit up. And then there was another story about, I think, some kid was being touched or molested or something, as it usually happens in Wisconsin. It's a very... And they're soft with that shit, too. When people are accused of, or they're convicted of child molestation in Wisconsin, it's a slap on the wrist. But yeah, this guy, for posting freedom of expression, freedom of speech, he gets a $2 million bond. Fuck you, Tennessee, and fuck you, Henderson County.
It's over a meme.
And fuck you, pig. Suck it, you motherfucker. Piece of shit. And there's his name, everybody.
That got everybody's attention and was considered threatening.
Yeah, right. Guy, no damn threat.
Police took Bussard into custody at his home in Lexington, Tennessee on September 21st based on a warrant issued out of Perry County. The one-time cop is one of those rare liberals in rural Middle Tennessee and a keyboard warrior known for posting progressive meat.
He's not a keyboard warrior. What the fuck? How this fucking newscaster, he says keyboard warrior. What a piece of shit.
Like these.
Right there. That one. We do need to tax the rich, because guess what? Us poor and who are homeless and struggling, that's the reason why we are in the position that we're in, because the rich, the upper middle class, the rich are all taking money from us. That's the reason why shit is hitting the fan, because of the upper middle class and the rich. If you go by those fucking neighborhoods around like Ashburn, Virginia, and all that shit, and fucking Bristow, not like Bristol, but Bristow, and Sterling areas and all that, all those motherfuckers are rich too, and they should be fucking paying the rest of us poor.
This is what they charge you with. Threatening mass violence at a school.
No, he didn't.
It's referring to a school. I have no idea. This is what they've called us for, and I ain't got a clue. I play on Facebook.
This is the meme that landed Bussard in jail. He posted it as part of a discussion about...
Why is it all blurred out? We all know it's fucking crybaby Trump.
Charlie Kirk's murder.
And yes, everybody, I was for him at one point, but because he wanted to fucking shove the homeless out of DC and everything, and treat the poor like shit, he got on my bad side. Other than that, I had no issue with him. Like before he had made those statements, I didn't know that's the way he was. I thought he actually did care, but he apparently doesn't care. And now he wants to build a grand ballroom on taxpayers' dime when that money should be used for the poor, you know?
He quotes Donald Trump saying, "We have to get over it." It was exactly what the president said the day after a deadly school shooting in Perry, Iowa. That's the meme that he posted, correct?
That looks like it, but except this part was blurred out. The face.
Where is the threat in there, Sheriff?
Right here?
Sheriff Weems says some in his community took the reference in the Trump meme to Perry High School to be a threat to shoot up Perry County High School.
Really?
Which had recently had to deal with a threat from a student.
Whenever you come to a Perry County page, okay, that is set up to let people know what's going on in Perry County, and you post this talking about Perry High.
Hang on a second. Hey Alexa, turn the lights off.
Okay.
I didn't realize that was like getting the screen there.
School shooting.
It doesn't say Perry County High
It says
School.
Perry High School mass shooting one day after. Okay, that led people to believe in our county that he's talking about Perry County High School, because it doesn't say Iowa either.
But you also knew this was an existing meme that was already out there on the internet.
Correct.
And so It's clear he's not talking about Perry County High School.
We knew. The public did not know.
No one
Really?
even replied to that one meme, the meme that's in question here.
No one said this is a threat against our school.
No one even mentioned it.
Chris Ergel from South Carolina heard about Bussard's arrest and started a Justice for Larry Bussard page on Facebook.
A reasonable person cannot possibly interpret that as a threat. So I'm not sure what he's reacting to. I think it might be his own feelings.
So
Yep.
why not just inform the public that this was not about Perry County High School?
Because here's the thing, whenever you're dealing with something like this and you got multiple people that is now scared to send their kids to school, we tried to take a different approach and go and speak to this guy and say, hey, look, this is what you're doing.
Freedom of speech, you know?
It is freedom of speech.
His wife explained to police he saw nothing wrong with what he had done.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you did or did not commit a crime. I may have been, but that's not illegal.
All of this could have been avoided, the sheriff says, if Bussard had just deleted the meme that people in Perry County
No.
objectionable.
No.
Whenever we sent Lexington Police Department out to speak to him, and he refused to do that, I mean, what kind of person does that? What kind of person just says he don't care? You know, I'm not taking it down.
Maybe a person who doesn't think he's done anything wrong.
Well, in TCA's
Fuck him.
and our state legislatures that's put this law forth that come out July 1st, 2024, says otherwise.
As for
No.
Weems' statement that Bussard
Freedom of
would not
speech
be in jail
does not
today
get
if he
trampled
had
by
just
any other
deleted the post, Chris
state
Ergel says,
state and local and county laws. State and local and county laws and federal law does not trample the fucking Constitution. The Constitution is there for a fucking reason.
that shows it was never really about any threat against Perry County High School.
Pretty much tells me he doesn't consider it a threat. If you think it's a threat, why would removing it make any difference?
In your heart, do you think Larry Bussard was threatening to shoot up Perry County High School?
In my heart, I think Larry Bussard knew what he was doing once we made contact with him, or once law enforcement made contact with him, and I believe that he knew what he was doing, and in my heart, he violated the law set forth by our legislatures.
No, he did not, because the First Amendment trumps those laws.
And Mr. Bussard's attorney has filed a motion to reduce his bond, but get this, that motion is not scheduled to be heard until December 4th, which is only adding to the outrage in the situation.
Long time from now. Now, the sheriff cites a state law that was controversial when it passed, and advocates feared that innocent people would kind of be caught up in this. Was there anybody above the sheriff that questioned this, signed off on it?
Yeah, Sheriff Weems tells me that his office did talk to DA Hans Schwindeman's office, and they signed off on the arrest, as did a judicial commissioner. The DA, by the way, did not return my phone call and speak to me like the sheriff was willing to do. Yeah.
Well, hopefully he will, and I know you're going to keep following this story.
Absolutely.
We spend a lot of time on this channel talking about the Fourth Amendment, but have you ever stopped to think about what it's really about? The answer is obviously privacy and security. After all, rights don't mean much if we don't take responsibility for protecting them. In fact, courts will often ask how much effort we made to guard our privacy before they decide whether it was violated. They figure if it doesn't matter to us, why should it matter to anyone else? In fact, did you know that one of the most famous Fourth Amendment cases in our country's history involved a guy just trying to have a private conversation about criminal activity inside a phone booth? Today, we don't use many phone booths, but we do use cell phones. Everyone has them, but these phones are more than just phones. They're tiny computers that store much more information about us than most of us realize. So when you're online and without a secure internet connection, it's basically like having every conversation that you have with anyone on speakerphone. Loads of it. Video. Now, just to be clear, I don't agree with anyone mocking the death of Charlie Kirk. Thanks again to private internet access, fellow citizens, that we think it's okay to take their lives just because we disagree with their sensitive and so intolerant and mocking the a VP.
Yeah, we're gonna have to just kind of write it out.
SDL to get started. Thanks again to private internet access for sponsoring this video. Now, just to be clear, I don't agree with anyone mocking the death of Charlie Kirk, or anyone else for that matter. I think it's disgusting as a society that we've grown so insensitive and so intolerant of the viewpoints of our fellow citizens that we think it's okay to take their lives just because we disagree with their opinion. And I posted as much when Charlie Kirk died. Hell, even Charlie Kirk made statements that didn't age very well, and it was something along the lines of, we have to tolerate a certain amount of gun violence in society in order to preserve the Second Amendment. It's important to remember that there are a couple of actual principles here at play, and that the politics really should not matter at all. If the standard for arresting someone is as low as what Mr. Bushart did here, then you literally could arrest half of Twitter in the United States for doing much worse than him on literally a daily basis. But second, as much as I'd like to blame the cops here, this travesty that we are watching unfold is actually more on the elected district attorney than it is the cops.
Yeah.
I say that because cops don't have the ability to prosecute people.
But the cops still could have, the pigs still could have said, no, we're not going to trample on the First Amendment, and we're not going to arrest somebody just because they're expressing their views. Cops could have refused the arrest and sit together and tell the DA to go fuck himself.
All cops are in the course of prosecuting a criminal case is a witness for the state. They don't have the ability to advance the ball forward any more than filing the initial warrant application. The district attorney for Perry County, Tennessee, is named Hans Schwindeman. And it is Hans Schwindeman who has an ethical obligation and a license that depends on his ability to practice law to not proceed with any case that lacks improbable cause. So, yes, the sheriff here is on the news defending this, acting like his people are somehow the victims because they have to answer the phones and deal with people who are disgruntled and deal with the public outrage. And he can be sued under a Monell theory because he's on the damn TV defending the case and basically acting like he ratifies the conduct here. But this case should have never been brought in the first place. And yes, he can and will be sued over this, and there's going to be mega damages because this dude's been in jail for over a month now. But let me break down the law that they've actually charged him with. And that is threats of mass violence on school property. And I know a thing or two about this law because
which he didn't do
it when I was the juvenile prosecutor, because the most common prosecution of this law has to do with children who think it's funny to threaten to shoot up schools. And the primary reason they're able to get by with what they're doing in this particular case is because the law is less than 5 years old and there's literally no appellate case review or case law on it whatsoever. So let's break down the law. We have subsection A here. It says, as used in this section, and it gives us some definitions. Mass violence means any act, okay? An act. The only act here is publishing a statement on the internet.
And that's the thing. It's an act. So you should only be prosecuted if you acted physically upon that threat or whatever. But if you make verbal statements, then it should be a different type of... I mean, threatening to shoot at school is stupid, okay? Bottom line, stupid. But there's a big difference, and that's what he's going to break down. So...
Any act which a reasonable person would conclude could lead to the serious bodily injury or death of two or more persons. Okay? So not only do you have to have a physical act, which, you know, they're going to make the argument that publishing the meme is a physical act.
No, it isn't.
Freedom of speech. It has to lead a reasonable person to believe that more than two people are going to be harmed. Means of communication, under Section 2 here, means direct or indirect verbal, written, or electronic communications, including graffiti, pictures, diagrams, telephone calls, voice over internet protocols, video messages, voicemails, electronic mail, social media posts, instant messages, chat group text, text messages, and any other recognized means of conveying information. Now, that doesn't help us because it includes internet posts, but what does help us is that this is unconstitutionally vague. It just hasn't been challenged yet. That's my opinion. We're not going to go through all that. But the point is, they use all of that because typically the way this works is that kids will, the way that I've prosecuted is that kids will start a Snapchat account and they'll start sending all these threatening messages to people that are actually on campus. And so the idea is that a reasonable person receiving these messages could be alarmed and could believe that serious bodily injury or death is going to come to 2 or more people on the campus of a school, right? But again, this really didn't have anything to do with school. His statement was about what Trump said about school, not about what he was saying about school, right? So it's a stretch. It's like third-party information. If this were to be levied against a juvenile, this would...
Trump is sick for even thinking that, too, to be honest. Trump is really sick. That we have to get over it? The fuck? The fuck is Trump some kind of delusional maniac?
Be dismissed immediately. It is nothing but politics is the only reason this is getting prosecuted. Nevertheless, if you can prove that this person said something that would lead a reasonable person to believe that 2 or more people would be harmed at a school, then you can prosecute this case, and it's an e-felony. But there is no world where posting a meme of a person, no matter who it is, and quoting their words from the past and saying that this seems relevant today can lawfully be construed as a threat in any way whatsoever, especially where the thing that you're posting about the person is not even a threat. And the fact that this DA has asked for a high bond to keep this guy in jail, and the judge, Katarina Moore, has levied a $2 million bond in this case, is an absolute abomination of the legal system.
Yep.
First, the only words that belong to Mr. Bushart here are "seems relevant today." That's literally the only words that he said. And you heard the sheriff act like there was a series of posts. Guys, it's them defending Trump. And that's what's so disgusting about this. Because I don't care how you feel about Trump. We cannot allow our politics to actually jail people who disagree with us. And by saying it seems relevant today, it's literally just him expressing a parallel to a quote that someone else made. All he's trying to do is point out the hypocrisy of Trump's statement when it was politically expedient and compare it to today.
Said it very well.
That's it. It's
he said it well.
Free speech. It's the whole point.
That's what I would have said. But I don't explain things like he does or anybody else can. I'm not good at that. But
being able to bounce ideas off of one another. And it was very clearly meant to encourage mourners of Charlie Kirk to take the president's own previous advice and move on. Now, again, I disagree with the statements, but I'll fight to the death for his right to say whatever he thinks. Nothing in Tennessee law, stretched all the way to the nth degree, provides even an arguable probable cause for any criminal charge in this case. Nothing. And apparently there were some attorneys from a group called the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression who filed for and received documents pursuant to some Public Records Act in Tennessee that showed that no school district involved here had any communication with Bushart whatsoever. They found no records related to this charge with Bushart. Now, what's even more strange about this case is that Bushart, as I mentioned before, is apparently a former law enforcement officer. That just goes to show you that it is not actually your identification as a former law enforcement officer that gets you anywhere in the state of Tennessee. It's whether you're still in the game. And one of the most dangerous things that is happening in Tennessee and has been happening over the past couple of years is the expansion of law enforcement discretion and the protected status of Tennessee law enforcement officers. Tennessee used to not be a stop and ID state, and now we have a stop and ID law. The law still comports with Brown versus Texas, so it's still within line of constitutional parameters. But Tennessee used to have a stronger protection for Fourth Amendment protections than even the United States Constitution, and that has been eroded. And the law does require reasonable articulable suspicion in order for a person to identify someone in Tennessee, but it seems lost on everyone that cops do not have the first damn clue what reasonable articulable suspicion even means. They think that they can just decide to investigate, and their investigative status is all they need in order to demand ID. But what's worse than that is that Tennessee doesn't even actually require a judge to review a warrant like the one filed for in the case of Bushart here. Yep, that's right. In Tennessee, probable cause statement in a warrant can be reviewed by a judicial clerk after they've had certain training on how to understand what probable cause means. Now, I've been practicing law in Tennessee for a while now. I've never once seen a clerk push back on a warrant application when a cop hands one in Tennessee. But you know what I have seen more than once, more than a handful of times, is that these clerks that are assigned to review the warrants are actually married to police officers who work even in the same departments as the ones handing in the warrant. Now, what do you think the odds are that PC is ever going to be questioned in Tennessee by a judicial clerk?
Wow.
0%. Zero.
Conflict of interest, in my opinion.
Happen, and I have never personally known of any person who knows anybody who's ever seen a judicial clerk say, nope, I don't think you have what you need here. Now, I personally am friends with judges who deny warrants for PC all the time, but I've never known a clerk to do it, ever. And there are way more clerks who are signing off on these warrant applications than there are judges. And the worst part ever is that Tennessee doesn't even consider a person to be formally charged, and they're not entitled to discovery until after they've been indicted. This guy has been in jail since September 22nd, and he's not even going to get a preliminary hearing until December. The rules of Tennessee criminal procedure state that a person who's incarcerated is entitled to a preliminary hearing for probable cause within 10 days of that person making a motion to the court for a preliminary hearing. Now, I have no idea who's representing Mr. Bushart or what that lawyer's doing, but I can promise you this. My client would not be sitting in jail on a $2 million bond without me demanding a preliminary hearing.
Hell yeah.
Making sure that I could at least establish the elements and show that there's no probable cause. And if I was denied the opportunity to have a hearing, I'd be filing motions to recuse, and I'd be filing motions for the district attorney to be removed from this case and disqualified because of bias, and I'd be asking for pro tem prosecutors. This is one of the worst cases of government overreach I've ever seen in my life. And you won't be surprised to learn that this is not the first time that the taxpayers of Tennessee have had to foot the bill for this sort of overreach. In 2023, taxpayers had to foot the bill for a $125,000 settlement over another guy who was arrested for making a disparaging comment on social media about a Dixon County Sheriff's deputy who had been killed in the line of duty.
Oh, well.
And of course, he won the lawsuit because it's very clearly established that you can say what you want on the internet so long as it doesn't actually threaten anybody. This
exactly,
guy's been jailed for saying mean things.
Yeah, that's exactly... I condone freedom of speech. I just don't condone the actual threat. Like, you're saying you're going to create harm and put harm upon this person or these persons or these entities. But you could say, fuck them. You could say they can all suck a dick. You could say that they're worthless pieces of shit. But that doesn't constitute as a threat. It just constitutes at your freedom of expression and things like that. But I guess these people who are scared are taking it out of context and think the tone of it is a threatening tone, which isn't.
Things about Donald Trump, who is the biggest troll in internet history. This is not France. This is not some free speech hating European country where they arrest people for having opinions. Or is it? Are we going to do as a red state exactly what they said we were going to do and weaponize the government to go after our political enemies? I mean, holy cow, guys. I don't even know what I'm seeing in America anymore. In closing, this is what happens when you create a system of Karens who massage the taint of law enforcement and then demand that they weaponize the legal system based on personal feelings. And to me, the very worst part of all of this is that regardless of what you thought of Charlie Kirk, his entire platform was built on free speech and the right of American people to say insensitive things, shocking sometimes things, to people that he thought that he could persuade by saying what he considered to be hard truths to them and causing them to sort of shock their mind a little bit and think about it. And I bet every dollar in my bank account that Charlie Kirk, regardless of what this guy has said, insensitive or otherwise, would stand in condemnation over this guy sitting in jail because he posted an insensitive meme on a Facebook group. So, to my fellow politically homeless, formerly conservative-leaning people, what are we going to do with these cops when we find out that back the blue until it happens to you is actually a thing that is happening in front of our very faces every single day? One of these days.
What I say is hashtag unback the blue. Don't back the blue, people. They are not your friends. They are not your family. They are out to make your life miserable, to arrest you, to to keep you bowed down, to keep you in chains, so to speak. You know, and that's what the blue does, and that's what they want. Fuck them.
You guys are going to be on the losing end of this power grab, and you're really going to hate how it feels when this shoe is forced upon your foot and it doesn't fit. I'm telling you, you're not going to like it. Anyway, just thought I would bring this to your guys' attention. This is not my regular upload day. I normally don't upload on Wednesdays, but I just had to say something about this case. I just found out about it. This is one of the worst overreach cases I've ever seen in my life. It's got something has to change about this situation very quickly. Anyway, thanks for checking it out. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments. I invite you to check us out on all the socials. You can scan the QR code on your screen with your camera phone. That'll take you to the Linktree site where you can sign up for Facebook, TikTok, Substack. You can sign up on a paid tier of Substack if you want to, but that's only for people who want to support the channel.
All right, well, I'm going
I don't put anything on these
to post this video in the comment. I'm going to pin it in the comment below, and you guys can watch it directly and like and comment and subscribe.
Please remember to like and subscribe and leave a comment on the video. Check out some of the other videos on the channel and leave a comment on there as well. Until I see you again, take care. Always film your interactions with the police and keep your evidence to yourself. Corrupticate State Attorney Brian, Freudian slip there. I meant John Fahey, the prosecutor in the Cop Tua case, managed to strike